Good morning, Toastmasters. I'm in charge of the lightning slides today. It was a little bit unpleasant for me because I don't like lizards. I don't like their reptilian look. I'm so glad I live in this age and not like thousands of years ago when they were alive. But I'll show you. I tried to find funny pictures, so I'll share my screen. One moment here. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'll show different pictures and every person gets 30 seconds to speak about the picture they see on screen. Once the slide changes, the speaker should stop speaking and you will see the name of the next speaker at the bottom of the picture. So be ready to speak and unmute the microphone.
Nice. Looks like we have, if my knowledge doesn't betray me, I think those are two Tyrannosaurus Rex skeletons. It appears that they're in some sort of conflict right now over perhaps the food that's in the middle of them. I'm guessing this is some kind of museum, perhaps the Natural History Museum.
This is amazing. I am not sure how you could ride a bicycle while wearing a costume that has a vent inside of it. To me, that sounds like a circle in hell. I apologize for using that word, but still, being in that hot suit, riding that bicycle must be difficult. And especially the fact that you can't see, but I do enjoy this reptilian look that he has.
T-Rex in my shower. It's Wednesday morning and I'm still sleepy because I'm waking up too early for my Toastmaster meeting with my eyes half closed. I go into my bathroom. I want it to be the size like this. And what I see here, what? T-Rex, should I run? But he...
Now, what you may not understand is when I was young, we didn't have the fancy internet where you would go out there on the chat book and you would find your true love. We had to do it down at the swamp, the way our parents did, and their parents didn't have parents. We don't go back that far. But you would go down and you would stick your face in the muck.
Oh my goodness. This looks like my children when they were this age. They loved dinosaurs, and one of their favorite things to do was to go to the Museum of Natural History in New York City. We lived right outside of it, and they would just love to hang out with the dinosaurs and play and pretend that they were dinosaurs and have so much fun wrestling and fighting one another.
Wow, children, you love this? Yeah, I love this. Yeah, this morning is a good start. After eating this food, remember, don't pay the dinosaur. We need to go out to clean the garden. Remember, don't lazy. Do you promise? Good job, good job.
My goodness, somebody needs to save us from these fearsome animals. This looks like the imminent demise of dinosaurs, so folklore has it, that dinosaurs were eliminated from the planet with a comet. My grandson and I talk about this. He's fascinated by dinosaurs and he wants to know how big the comet was that obliterated these animals.
Okay, it seems that there's a family dinner of all dinosaurs, and it's the father dinosaurs who's waking up in the morning and instructing everybody about how their day should be, that they should behave properly and not eat other dinosaurs, and they should be well mannered. And I see the mother over there getting all the drinks and fruits and all the other healthy vegetables.
That is the world's smallest dinosaur. You know, every time I look at some of the bugs that exist today, praying mantis, for example, all I can think about is what it must have been like when they were, 100 times that size. Every kid likes dinosaurs, but if they actually saw one, I think they would probably just pass out. They were so big and immense. But we still have evidence of them in some of the bugs that exist today.
Oh, it's my turn again. I see so many little dinosaurs on the ground, and I see the plastic I see. It looks like a football, a soccer goal, and it seems to me they all are playing football with so many rocks as the balls, and they're and I see the goalkeeper also. That's the larger dinosaur is the goalkeeper. So I think there's a child who's placing all the dinosaurs and playing soccer over there.
Thank you, everyone. Great job. Sean, you're muted.
Thank you, Mariana. Thank you for all the fancy, nice pictures, illustrations of the ancient reptilian life, which still have its own impact on today's life. Actually, I'm pretty impressed by the picture of Jesus Save Me, that the asteroid hitting the Earth, because the scientists, after many years research, find out that the main reason the dinosaur become extinct is because it didn't have a space program. All right. Now we are getting to our speech part of our meeting. And today we have 3 speakers. The first speaker is Daniel Flores Cortez. He will speak from the Presentation Mastery, Level 3, Project 1. The time of his speech is 3 to 4 minutes. The purpose is to practice delivering social speeches in front of club members. The title will be It's Time to Outshine, and the evaluator is Abji Joshi. Our second speaker is Shraddha Nayak. She speaks from Presentation Mastery Level 2, Project 3. Time will be 5 to 7 minutes. The purpose is to introduce Toastmasters mentoring. And the title of her speech is My Experience as a Mentee. And she will be evaluated by Declan Shawi. Our third speaker is John Greco. He speaks from Engaging Humor, Level 2, Project 1. It will be 5 to 7 minutes. And the focus will be knowing your sense of humor. And his speech title is Guideposts for Living. And he will be evaluated by Elena Baryshnikova. And after each speech, I will give 2 minutes for us to complete the evaluation form. Our first speaker recently has won a company award and decided to write an acceptance speech in advance, just in case if he has to give one. Please welcome Daniel Flores Cortez.
I am deeply honored and grateful to have been elected as the recipient of the 2020 Outshine Award. This award recognizes the significant contribution, stellar performance, and dedication to Alpha Media's mission and vision. While I am excited to be receiving this award, I do realize that I was only able to accomplish what I've done because of my peers. Without their dedication and support, my ability to be an asset would have been non-existent. Their knowledge and experience have aided me with my improvements with scheduling and efficiency. Heather Thompson, You have been my biggest supporter since I joined the team. Without your willingness to teach me your methods and the production life cycle, I would have never developed my own charting skills. We have developed a strong kinship where we both are willing to assist each other at every turn. For example, she and the printing team will work over the weekend to print out material, and I and the install team are willing to drive to the airport at late in the evening to pick up that material. Talking about the install team, Richard Nochefranca, Jonathan Perez, Peter Salazar, Charles Smith, Seville Cortez, and Gerson Cortez. I would like to take a moment to thank all of you and for allowing me to be part of your amazing group. There has never been a dull moment with us. It may be hard to believe, but we have shared countless nights scrambling to make sure a campaign goes smoothly. From me doing midnight drive deliveries to their work area, to the team looking for open inventory when our planned holds fell through. We had to make a lemonade with the sourest of lemons. Finally, I would like to thank my general manager, Rob Schilling. Thank you for taking a chance on me. I know there is no correlation between ships and buses, but still, that did not stop you from seeing my potential. Receiving this award has been humbling, and it has caused me to reflect on my time at Outfront. And most importantly, I hope this award can demonstrate that everyone's efforts play an important role in our team. Before I go, I would like to leave you with one of my favorite quotes from Henry Ford. If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Timekeeper, can we have 2 minutes for evaluating? BG, you are muted.
Yes.
Thank you. Time is up. Our second speaker is going to talk about the mentors who have inspired her, and she wishes to be a mentor just like them. Please welcome Shweta Nayar.
When I think about my past, I would like to remember all those people who have helped me and guided me up till now. I mainly had mentoring experiences in companies that I have worked for and in Toastmasters. This project has made me think about what an ideal mentor means to me. I have had two mentors that I'm going to talk about, whom I have met, and they have helped me in my journey to improve my communication and technical skills. When I started working in India, I had just started working as a software developer. My mentor's name was Chris, and he was the technical lead of the team. When I was new to the company, he held me at every small steps to make sure that I'm comfortable enough to adjust to the new work environment. He even made sure that I'm comfortable enough to reach out to him whenever I needed help. The best part about him that he always appreciated every little thing that I did. And whenever I made mistake, he would always come up with an inspiring story about his own life. And when he narrated that story, he would also explain how he learned from that difficult situation. Listening to his stories actually inspired me to work on my own projects and to learn from it. There's one incident which I remember about my mentor. My manager had assigned me a task and he asked me to make too many changes, and the deadline was just next day. When I came to know about so much of work that I need to finish just within a day, I had no choice, but I went to my mentor and I asked him for his help. He asked me that he needs just 1 hour and he'll reach out to me. After an hour, he came up with a paper with a diagram on it. In the diagram, he had clearly mentioned about every small detail of how I should finish my task and reach and complete it within the deadline. I could not believe it that my mentor had gone out of his way to make sure that I could finish my work within the deadline, and he had put in so much of effort in just making a diagram. When I saw the diagram, I immediately felt so relieved, and I knew I could complete my task well on time, and I did. This experience made me realize that how to organize your work in a company, and he also helped me to understand how to keep calm in an overwhelming situation. This my mentor has helped me so much that even today, when I need help from him, I can still reach out to him, and he's always there for me. I remember that every time any of his mentees did an excellent job, he would always buy a coffee or a cupcake in the beginning to show his appreciation for them. Thus, and there were a lot of mentees who were working under him, and everybody wanted to be just like him. I met my second mentor at Toastmasters. When I completed my undergraduation, I realized that I needed to work on my public speaking skills. And that is why I had decided to join Toastmasters. In the beginning, I learned that Toastmasters is all about delivering speeches, completing pathways, and doing various roles in a club meeting. But my mentor at Toastmasters told me that Toastmasters is more about that. It's also about networking, taking various roles in contests. He encouraged me to attend various clubs to see how club meetings takes place at various places. He asked me about my goals at Toastmasters at the very beginning, and he always made sure that I was always on the right track. After every speech that I gave, he would always give an honest feedback to me. I always appreciated his directness, and I always appreciated his honesty. And I'm talking about none other than Abhijit Joshi. When, in spite of his busy schedule, he would always find time to help me, and not just me, but all the fellow Toastmasters. At every meeting, when somebody would back out, he would always take initiative to take up that role and save the day. I always appreciated his passion for Toastmasters and his positive energy that keeps everyone motivated. And I wish to be a mentor just like him. I would like to ask all my fellow Toastmasters to think about a time when you met someone who inspired you. Who are the people that you look up to? You're lucky if you found just one such person in your life. And I am glad that I met two such mentors in my life. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Shraddha. Our third speaker is spending time in the background working on his final project.
We need evaluation time, John.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, timekeeper, can we have 2 minutes for evaluation?
Absolutely.
We're excited about John's speech. Apologize for that. Time is up. Our third speaker is spending time in the background working on his final project for the persuasive influence pathway. Until that's ready, he is moving forward with engaging humor. In level 2 of engaging humor, he is attempting to interweave humor into his speech. Please welcome John Greco.
We can get so caught up in our daily routine that we lose sight of our lives. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters. Good morning. I've had many ups and downs in my life, much like we all have. But having a stroke a few months ago gave me the opportunity to step back and evaluate my life. I spent time reviewing my past, and I realized I was struggling with direction. So I developed 3 guideposts for my future: challenge my perceptions, recognize opportunities, and forge ahead no matter what. So challenging my perceptions, how did I come to that? When I was a kid, and I've talked about this before, I loved music, and I still do. I listened to a lot of bands, and one band that I listened to was called ELO. The ELO stood for Electric Light Orchestra. And that name drove me crazy as a kid, because it's like electric lights. Of course, it's electric lights. All lights are electric lights. And a few years ago, I was watching a PBS documentary, and they started to talk about the light orchestra. And at that moment, it popped into my head, oh, the title is Electric Light Orchestra. It's not an electric light orchestra, but it's a light orchestra that is electrified. And I realized, of course, I realized how stupid I was at that moment, but I realized I was looking at it wrong my entire life. And it never occurred to me that it was a light orchestra that was electrified. And I look at that and realize my perceptions sometimes, I get them fixed in my head, and I don't think about other angles to look at something. And I've really tried to make an effort since then to look at things from different angles. Looking for and recognizing opportunities. That's been an important part of my life, and it's really becoming an important part of my life. And I liken it to the story of there was a town that was having a flood, and the floodwaters were rising, and they went door to door telling people to evacuate. And the police officers knocked on the door of this particular man, and they said, "Sir, we have to evacuate. The town is flooding." And he said, "No, God will save me." So a few hours later, the floodwaters rose, and a boat came by, and they yelled to the man, "Sir, we have to evacuate. The town is flooding." And he said, "No, God will save me." A few hours later, the floodwaters rose all the way to the top of the house, and he's sitting on the roof of the house. And a helicopter comes by and says, "Sir, we have to evacuate." And he said, "No, God will save me." Well, a few hours later, the man dies in the flood. And he rises up to the pearly gates of heaven, and the pearly gates open, and he meets God, and he says, "God, why didn't you save me?" And he said, "Well, I sent you a car, a boat, and a helicopter. What else did you need?" So sometimes the opportunities are right in front of us, and we just fail to recognize them. And honestly, it's been years, but I'm starting to realize that there are opportunities presented all the time, and I just need to recognize them and look for them. And my third guidepost is to forge ahead, to make progress. Just keep moving forward. And to do that, I need to make decisions. There are times when I will get wrapped up in the analysis of something and forget to make a decision. And it's interesting, when my father passed away years ago, my family was there, including a number of different cousins. And my sister was pretty broken up about it, and she was talking to Uncle Ralph. Well, actually, he wasn't an uncle, he was a cousin. My dad had 20 or 30 uncles. It wasn't until I was an adult that I realized he only had one brother. But Uncle Ralph was talking to my sister, and she said, "I'm going to miss Dad. He always knew how to make the right decision." And Uncle Ralph said, "Do you want me to tell you a secret?" He said, "There's more than one right decision." And that statement was impactful for me to hear that, because I'm a very rigid person that way. And sometimes to me, there's a right decision and a wrong decision. And it did open my eyes that there are many right decisions. And so I've taken that as a guidepost for myself to realize that I can make a decision and move forward. And ultimately, my actions will make that decision the right decision. So I'm not naive enough to believe that life is perfect, but it is wonderful enough to stick it out. And I plan to use these guideposts over the next few years, if not the rest of my life. And I offer to you, challenge your perceptions, recognize opportunities, and forge ahead no matter what. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Timekeeper, can we have 2 minutes for people to evaluate John's speech?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Are we, PJ? Oh,
Sorry.
thank you. I'm assuming we are getting to the limit. Now, let's move to our next fun part of our meeting, where all people get to speak to 1 to 2.5 minutes on a question given. Please welcome today's table topics leader, Devin Xu. Devin.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. We're going to have a pretty long table topic session, it looks like, given the time right now. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from probably at least 6 or 7 of you guys. So my first question. In Jurassic Park, dinosaurs are brought back to life by using their DNA found in mosquitoes. While this is science fiction, it's believed that we'll soon have the technology to bring back extinct species like the dodo, passenger pigeon, and maybe even the woolly mammoth. Do you think technology should be used in this way, or is this a terrible idea? I'm going to go with, I'm curious as to what Dennis has to say on this topic.
I'm curious as to what I would say about this topic as well. I think one of the overriding qualities of humanity that makes us interesting is hubris. We look at an opportunity, and I think alien species would say, bringing back to life an elephant-sized creature with huge tusks, having to feed it, having to find a place for it to live, having to nurture it, not knowing precisely how it lived, would be a lot of fun, I suppose, but why don't we instead focus our efforts on climate change or feeding the people who are already here or ending conflict? Given the opportunity, then, I believe that there are always going to be people who do some pretty crazy stuff. In some ways, we benefit from this. I'm sure that if we brought back the woolly mammoth, we would find that their blood was a perfect serum to cure toenail fungus. And we would take advantage of that. That's one of the strengths of humans. But undoubtedly, if we were to experiment with bringing these species back to life, we would end up with flying woolly mammoths with laser beam eyes that would terrorize the countryside, just as they have in every science fiction movie since 1950. And that being the case, I'm sure that we shouldn't do it, and that's why I'm absolutely convinced we will. After all, we elected Trump. Mr. Topics Master.
Dennis, what a great answer. Okay, next question. One of the best things about discovering a new dinosaur is that you get to name it. If you were gardening in your house and you happen to discover bones of a new species of dinosaur, what would you name it and why? And I'm going to go with, how about Cherry?
Wow, it's a difficult answer. I can name a lot of things. I don't know how to pick it, but maybe I can name it San Jose Toastmaster. Why? Because I live in San Jose. So we are a group of members who support each other. So we have a lot of bones, different shape, different color, different size, just like us. We are different and unique, but we can have a lot of possibility. So we can use those bones to promote our clubs, and then some reporter maybe interview us, and then we can say a lot of stuff about our club, and then to promote Toastmaster. Actually, I think Toastmaster is doing a great job, but they don't, it seems that they don't promote a lot about their mission vision in the public. So I think it's a good idea to let me San Jose Toastmaster. Back to you.
Thank you, Cherry. I think we should all take a pact that if any of us become a paleontologist later in life and we discover a new species, San Jose Toastmasters is a great name to pick. Next question. Paleontologists study extinct ancient animals, such as dinosaurs. Archaeologists study ancient humans and the civilizations they came from. If you had to choose between being an archaeologist and a paleontologist, which would you want to be and why? And I'm going to go with Sue.
Hi, Dennis. Can you tell me those definitions again, please?
Yeah, so paleontologist studies ancient animals from prehistory usually, whereas an archaeologist is like Indiana Jones and you study ancient civilizations and people.
Okay, cool. Yeah, they would both be fascinating, but I would have to go with archaeologist because it seems more all-encompassing. You can study ancient cultures, ancient peoples, and possibly even ancient animals. Who knows? But I think it's fascinating to learn about how people lived like eons ago, hunters and gatherers. What was their political structure, their village, their house? It's all so interesting, and it would be really fun to discover some things. I've seen like some digs of Roman ruins, and I know that the work itself can be very tedious, but also extremely rewarding. So yeah, I think archaeologists would be super fun, and I would love to be one of those. Thanks.
Thank you, Sue. I would definitely agree with that. I think humans are infinitely more interesting than reptiles. Next question. Tyrannosaurus rex was the largest land carnivore in Earth's history. Velociraptors had claws that were nearly 3 inches long. However, I believe that the scariest reptile ever is Barney, the purple dinosaur, whose creepy mannerisms and voice traumatized me as a kid. What was your favorite TV show as a child and why? And I'm really curious to know the answer to this question for Declan.
First of all, Devin, thank you for introducing me to the purple dinosaur. I grew up on the other side of the planet where we didn't have purple dinosaurs and we didn't make those dinosaurs, those purple dinosaurs, famous through pop culture. Your question, though, was what was your question, actually? This is the point. What was his question really about? And I think, you know, one thing we should do in Toastmasters, I suggest, is listen more carefully to the questions, particularly when you're thinking orthogonally about a different subject. What scared me, or what was my favorite show as a child? Actually, it was the antithesis of a reptilian, and it was the antithesis of fear. It was Tom and Jerry, my favorite characters. And I love that friendly tussle between two characters. And the little weak guy usually was the smarter one, which I like, because there are a lot of people on this planet bigger than me. And they seem to have a nice message, actually, for us all. That, at least what I remember, the message I remember is more around do the right thing when you do something aggressive, or you try to get the better of somebody, or you try to get one over on somebody. Perhaps that won't always work out to your advantage. Now, what I am doing these days is retelling my Tom and Jerry stories to my grandson, my 5-year-old grandson. I have to tell him a story every day. It takes about 10 minutes to drive him home. And I am absolutely and utterly exhausted by the time I get him home. I have told him he's been with us for about 1.5 years every day. And I must have told him 300 stories. If anybody has any good stories about Barney that won't frighten a child, will you please let me know? Or maybe I'll research it myself, Devin. That's what I'll do. I shall find out more about Barney and is he a good guy or a bad guy? And I will talk to my grandchild about that. Back to you, Devin.
Thank you, Declan. Well, Halloween's only in about 4 months, so try to get you those Barney stories by then. All right, next question. The Natural History Museum in New York City is one of my favorite museums in the world, much like Jane. I've actually been lucky enough to visit there twice. They have a whole floor just filled with dinosaur skeletons. My question is, what is your favorite museum or the best museum you've been to that you remember? And I'm going to ask Elena.
Thank you, Devin. That's an interesting question. My absolute favorite museum would be Historical Museum in Moscow because it reflects the history of Russia from ancient times, from actually the times that mamas were walking on the territory, and one of the first and most ancient exponent, it was a mama's tusk hanging on the wall at the height where the real mama's hand be located. And I thought before, oh, mama's, it just was big elephant. No, it was a very, very high, tall creature. And this museum also shows the imitation of burial place of ancient people who lived on territory that's nowadays Russia and other ancient times, and little by little it guides you through the centuries of Russian development. And the most interesting part for me is 19th century exponents, especially one of the 19th century men's travel kit. It's a necessary box laden with velvet, and every item has its own perfect place. Scissors, bottles of eau de cologne, nail files, compartment for gloves. First I thought, oh, nice, it's for women. No, it was for rich men's or well-being men's traveling to have everything with them. Also, there is huge collection of 19th, 18th century men's and women dresses of different classes, from peasant dress to noble dresses, bold dresses. And what I would like the most when I last time visited Moscow with my daughter and we took a tour, and she was impressed, and her words was very awarding. Mom, now I know my roots. I'm proud to be Russian. Back to you, Mr. Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Elena. That sounds like a great museum to visit. Mr. Toastmaster, how are we doing on time?
You have time for one more question.
One more, okay. So my final question, it is believed by many experts that an asteroid is to blame for the mass extinction of dinosaurs 65 million years ago. What are some dangers to our own species survival, and how can we address them? Do I have any volunteers who may want to tackle this question? I didn't think it was that bad of a question, was it? Let's go with Jane. You're laughing, so I'm going to go with you. I think you're on mute. Oh,
It's not that, that is a difficult, and you have to be very thoughtful in your answer with that. And now I'm laughing so hard I forgot what the question was. Would you please repeat it?
yeah. My question is, what are some dangers to our own species survival, and how can we address them?
Oh, there are so many dangers to our species and our survival. The hot weather that is coming is a danger to our species because it can spark the wildfires. Our shortage of water, which we can't live without water. And if you pass by some of the reservoirs, it's really, really scary. I have gone down to Los Angeles by car several times, and the San Luis Reservoir over in the Central Valley, which I've been by there when the water's been almost up to the roadside. And now there are just islands that you can see in the middle of the reservoir. The water is so low. Speaking about animals, though, I have a friend who's been telling me lately that one of the ways we can save the planet is if we let our cattle free roam and free range, and they're tamping down the ground just as the dinosaurs did. They actually are bringing and keeping the planet safer. Also about planting tubers. And planting more tubers is one of the ways that we can create more water. But if we would allow the cattle to naturally fertilize and tamp down the earth, that is one way that we could actually save the planet. I know it's a very wild and weird thing, but when we talk about dinosaurs, that's what I'm thinking about, is what this conversation I had with my friend Kevin about this possibility, and this possibility of how we can save the planet. And it could be very simple and very inexpensive. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Jane. Madam Timekeeper, were all of our table topic speakers on time?
Yes.
Okay. So I believe we had 6 speakers. So you can vote for either Elena, Dennis, Jane, Declan, Cherry, or Sue. I don't think I'm forgetting anyone, am I?
No, you're
okay.
fine.
Great. And then I'll pass control back to our Toastmaster, John.
Thank you, Devin. Madam Timekeeper, can you let us know were all 3 speakers on time?
Daniel was 2.54, Shraddha and John were both over 5. So yes.
So thank you. So Thank you, Madam Timekeeper. So fellow members, please vote on best speaker, runner speaker, and table topic speaker. So table topic speaker is their name: Dennis, Gary, Sue, Declan, Elena, and Jane. They are all qualified. And also, I kindly ask you to provide feedback to my performance today, if possible. Now, the one part of very interesting and rewarding our weekly meeting is the evaluation. And let me introduce today's general evaluator, Dennis Dawson. Dennis.
Thank you, Jean. Evaluation is the heart of Toastmasters. It is the core to what we do here. It's not just giving speeches, it's getting immediate feedback, something you don't get in your day-to-day life. It's also how we show we care. We are fortunate today to have three of our preeminent evaluators evaluating. We will begin with Avi, who will be giving his feedback for Daniel's social speech. Avi.
Thank you so much, Dennis. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, and especially you, Daniel. First of all, I want to congratulate you for receiving that award. I remember a time when I had to write such a speech. It is an exciting time for you. I'm going to talk about three things. One is your vocal variety. The second thing I want to talk about is content. And finally, your body language. I felt your voice was well projected, so it helped me to understand you very well. The second thing I felt was your voice, when you started talking, it had that excitement, that energy in there. I really enjoyed that. But what I observed is as you went into the middle of your speech, you lost that enthusiasm, that energy. So if you can maintain that enthusiasm and that energy, that will make your speech more effective. I heard that some of the names which you are pronouncing were mispronounced. So if you can go through those names, that will be helpful for you when you are delivering this speech at work. You asked me to look at how your pace was. I felt your pace was a little bit faster. If you can slow down, like you are having a conversation with us and have more pauses, that will make it more effective. The content, in the content of the speech, I like that you thank the people who contributed to your success. But one thing I felt that could add more value or more emotions to your content is I want to hear how you were feeling, because your feelings are very important and that's something can make your speech more effective. The one thing I want to talk about is the body language. If you stand like this is a power pose. When you are in a power pose, your body is closed and it tells me that you're not ready to connect with the audience. Always have your arms open, because when your body is open, it tells me that you are ready to connect with the audience. So if you can have an open body language, slower pace, and adding more of your feelings and emotions, that will make your speech more effective. I loved the enthusiasm with the way which you started your speech, and I enjoy your voice projection. Back to you, Sir Toastmaster.
Back to Dennis.
Yes, I'm taking notes.
I wanted to disrupt your thought processes, Dennis.
Yes, yes. And you failed, but thank you. Our next evaluation of Shraddha's speech will be delivered by, who will deliver this one? Okay, Declan.
Thank you, Dennis. For everybody's knowledge, Shraddha has left the meeting. She wasn't feeling well. I do not know if that's an illness or is it because of the imminent evaluation. A good mentor or a mentor is somebody who has some knowledge, some wisdom, some skills, who was willing to share those in an open, trustful relationship with somebody who is willing to learn. Sharada's speech today was to talk about her own experiences as a mentee, primarily. Generally, I think she achieved those objectives, but there are some areas I think that she can improve upon. First of all, I'd like to outline a couple of areas that I think she did well on. I liked her organization, the simple outline that she told us at the beginning of the speech. She was going to talk about 2 mentors, one in the work environment, one in Toastmasters. Very clear, very easy to follow, like that. Secondly, I like the specificity she had, particularly around the career mentor, Chris. She talked about a project that she was struggling with, the timelines, etc. And she described what she learned from Chris in that experience. She learned to be more calm. She learned to be more organized. Well told. She asked me to look at her pace, and I thought her pace was quite good throughout the speech. It was again reflected what she'd learned from Chris. She was calm, she was organized, she clearly enunciated what she was saying. And to me, that made her appear more thoughtful about the topic. But I want to come back to that. There are areas that I think she could improve upon. And the first is, I'd like her to define what a mentor is. I did that at the outset of this because that frames for us, the audience, what she's talking about, and it would help us anchor in that context. Secondly, in my mind, mentors change your life. Good mentors change your life. And in some ways, this calm demeanor that Sharada used in this speech didn't serve her purpose. I would have preferred to see something with more passion, which would have been conveyed through vocal variety. Why do I say that? Because sometimes if we're so calm and organized talking about something that is really impactful in our lives, that conflict between what you say, being sincere, but being calm and organized, doesn't convey sincerity, or it diminishes the sincerity and it diminishes the impact. So I'd like her to use more vocal variety to talk about the changes that they made in her, these mentors made in her lives. Now, let's talk about the value. Chris talked about being calm and organized, and that was great. But Sharada didn't give us a specific as to how she took that forward. She just said, I've learned from him. And even less so with Abhijit, less specificity. How did Abhijit help her? What were her issues coming in to Toastmasters? What did Abhijit teach her? And how has she progressed? And the point about that is almost the takeaway for us as an audience. That if you share your story, you're more open, you talk about your challenges, you're more credible. Those are the thoughts I have for Sharada.
Thank you, Declan. Let us now hear Elena's evaluation of John's speech.
John, what a strong, impressive, very impressive speech, full of wisdom. The thing that impressed me most is when you started some time ago, I had a stroke, and I immediately thought, how this speech can be humorous. And then in the flow of your speech, you had a touch of humor here and there, and then you told the anecdote about man whom God tried to save from a flood, but who didn't recognize your opportunities. I think to incorporate humor in the situation when you have to reconsider your life decisions is very masterful. So it's a great achievement in your speech. Another strong side, it is your speech is very organized and structured, very clear. You told us about your 3 principles: challenge perception, recognize opportunities, and keep moving forward, making a decision, and they will be right. And you provided stories for all those 3 points. and a conclusion at the end. It was very clear, organized, and strong speech. As for improvements, I found two things. Somehow you look at different sides when you are talking, not straight in your camera sometimes, and it breaks eye contact. For me personally, it seems like you are talking not with us, but just talking. So please try to look straight at the camera on your computer. Another area of improvement would be in the story when you have to reconsider what is ELO, Electric Light Orchestra is. I was a little bit lost. Is it electrified light orchestra or electric like orchestra? So this story was a little bit unclear. The idea was clear. You have to reconsider things like looking, oh, what it is, it's something insignificant and important. And then you, after some thoughts, you realize that, oh, that's an interesting thing. It doesn't really matter how it's called. But I would like to hear the story more clear because I was lost. Otherwise, thank you for the speech. Again, it was full of wisdom. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
And now it's time for fight or flight. My reptilian brain is telling me that I have to make a judgment on these three excellent evaluations. Abby, I'm going to be very critical of you because you're an accomplished evaluator. I challenge you to stop saying, and especially the speaker's name. You're saying it at the beginning of every evaluation that I hear, and it is a Toastmasters trope that's going to harm you if you go into a contest. I was surprised that you were doing a ping pong evaluation today. You did this well, but this could have been better. You did this well, but this could have been better. That doesn't play well in an evaluation because it sounds like you're giving left-handed compliments. You did this well, but that wasn't so good. You did this well, that wasn't so good. It doesn't feel as comforting. I want to contrast that with what Declan did. Declan had a ping pong that he wanted to talk about in terms of specificity, but instead of saying you did specificity well here, but you didn't do it well here, he said, I appreciated the specificity. This is where it went well, and I'll have something to say about that later. Foreshadowing it, but not immediately taking away the power of the praise that he was doing. I also liked in Declan, your evaluation, the way you were talking about giving specific examples, and then you went on to give specific examples in your evaluation, not only pointing out the area for improvement, but also demonstrating how it could be done well. Elena, I appreciate your observations because they're very astute. I think you pull out some great areas for feedback in every one of your evaluations. One of the challenges when you're speaking in a second language is coming up with synonyms and avoiding superlatives. And so I heard the term strong many times. This was strong, this was strong. And you use the word very, 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 very many times. And you should look back at the recording. I don't say this to criticize you so much as make you aware of it. It's sort of like a regular AW counter thing. Once you recognize that these things are showing up more often, perhaps than they ought to, then you can avoid them in your future evaluations. That will help you win evaluation contests, because that's where I see you going. Obviously, all three of you. For the best evaluation of the day, it pains me to once again have to reward Declan for his misbehavior, but it has happened once more. And now let us move on to our reports. We will start with Dan Pinschmidt, our pinch hitter grammarian for today. How did we do grammatically?
Thank you very much. Yes, I was assigned this duty at the end of Daniel's speech, so it is really a pinch hit. I remember back some time that grammarians usually have to do with word structure and or word choices. And in the Shakespearean days, he had a working vocabulary of about 54,000 words. In the United States today, we have a working vocabulary of about 4,000 words. So when people start talking with enlightened verbiage, it is comforting to me, and I like to hear it. The use of some of the words is excellent. I did find one thing that, who is it? Who it was? Oh, Devin, you were talking about a building in New York, and you compared it to Jane. And I was wondering whether or not it was like a dangling something out there that you compared the building to her versus her preference of a building. And it was a little confusing. I kind of laughed at it. Words like Shraddha, she used the word whom rather than who perfectly. That was great. And I felt involved in a lot of her things. And she also used infectious and very descriptive words. Challenge perception, John, great. I love that combination of those two words. Forge ahead and impactful. These are great words. Dennis, you were very good in a lot of the things that you said too. A lot of excellent pronunciation of words that were great to hear. Devin, oh, I already said Devin. Sorry, I'm just going through my notes, scribbling so fast. Sue, all impactful on eons ago. You usually don't hear the word eons ago. Declan, antithesis, tussle, specificity. Elena, you use the word laden. That was very good. I enjoyed hearing all that. And then Avi, you used the word reflective. These are all great words, great use of the words. I tried to get past as much as possible the pronunciation. English is the second language. And just the fact that whoever it was tried to use the words was great. And I really enjoyed today. We had a higher education, higher than the 4,000, and we're getting closer to the Shakespeare 54,000, and I appreciate it. And it was very enlightening.
Nice pinch hit, Pinschmidt. And now we are moving along to our counter, our Wizard of Oz, Cherry.
Yes, thank you so much. Toastmaster, 1 for speaker, Daniel Kia, Shanha, Clear, John 1 for table topics, Dennis 1 or 1 and then Shu Clear, Deacon Clear, Jane 2 at the beginning. For evaluation part, Deacon 1 or and then Elena 3 or BJ 2. Then in your report session 5 2 yeah, thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Cherry. And Sue, how many of us were able to Jimmy reptilian into our speech today?
Yes, thank you, Dennis, for saying reptilian. I know Dennis said reptilian. Did anyone else?
think I heard it.
Or anyone else?
Declan said it, didn't he?
I think so. One other.
Absolutely. I said it 4 times. This proves conclusively that Sue Kalman does not listen to a word I say, but I already knew that.
Okay, thank you, Dennis and Declan, for using the word of the day. That is my report.
I don't remember Declan saying anything about using it, though. Just saying. And that means it's back to our Toastmaster, Jean.
Thank you, Dennis. Now it's time for me to review today's winner. Let's get some drum roll, please. Today's best topic speaker is Cherry Zhu. Congratulations, Cherry. The runner-up speaker, drum roll, please. Shraddha. The best speaker, drum roll, please, is John Greco. Congratulations to all winners today and all speakers today. You all did a great job. Now, let me introduce Maria Zavala for the thought of the day. Maria.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and fellow guests. I thought about the meeting. First of all, congratulations to our speakers. What I thought about the meeting was I liked what Daniel Flores Cortez said in his speech. If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. I believe that our club, San Jose Toastmasters, is moving forward together, and that's why we are a successful club. That's what I thought of today. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Now, let me have our general evaluator, Dennis Dawson, to evaluate today's whole meeting. Dennis.
We had our typical outstanding meeting today. Just going to run down my notes. We had people who were not assigned roles or some double roles. So let's be sure that we sign up for roles. It's very important to sign up to say that you will not be attending a meeting so that you will not inadvertently be assigned a role when you're not here. Of course, I'm preaching to the choir because you're the people who are here. It is excellent to see people steadily progressing through pathways. And I noticed this with Daniel and Shraddha and John. These are 3 people who regularly speak, at least monthly. I'd like to see anybody who hasn't given a speech recently step up, because we need to hear your voice. We need to hear the variety in there. Daniel Cortez Flores, it's not that hard. So let's get our names right. Cherry C is the correct name. The sweetest sound in any language is one's own name. Now, I want us all to do a better job of pronouncing everyone's name. The thing that I have learned this year is you don't treat other people the way you would have them treat you. We treat other people the way they would like to be treated. And that's just one way that we can show our respect for one another. I want to point out how much progress John Greco has made. Coming into this club, he was a good speaker. His first speech blew us away. We were really impressed with him. People think that Toastmasters is a place where you come to get over a fear of public speaking. That's not true. Cherry has no fear of public speaking. She's got a brilliant mind and wants to practice expressing those great ideas that she has in there. John came in as a competent speaker and has really advanced to a higher level of polish over time. The content of his speech, the way he delivers it, his vocal variety have all improved. And I like to point out that people come in at all levels and we continue to progress at all levels. And that is the strength of this organization and something that all of us contribute to on a week-to-week basis. So I'm really pleased that John will be taking over the reins of the club in a couple of weeks. Devin, I wanted to answer every one of your table topics. That is the sign of an excellent topics leader. Not only did I get to reflect on what's my favorite TV show, what is my favorite museum, and have the pleasure of thinking that through, then I got to hear the answer from someone else. So it's kind of a double whammy of good feelings we go through. One note on the thought of the day. The thought of the day is something we should bring prepared, something to do with the theme. I've heard a couple of people recently giving a thought of the day, talking about what they thought of the meeting, but that's what the general evaluation is. I get to tell you all the things I thought about the meeting today. So I want to be sure that those two roles are kept distinct. That is my feedback. Back to you, Jean.
Thank you, Dennis. And thanks for all the thoughts and the evaluation of people's progress on pathways. And actually next is due for our president, Dennis, for additional announcements and comments for our club.
Officer training is this evening. All officers, let's get trained right away. I actually don't have an officer role in the next semester here. I may show up anyway just to annoy people. Officer training is really important, and those of you who are not officers but want to attend training, you're certainly free to do it. It's a great way to meet other Toastmasters and learn more about the organization. Anything else, Abby, that we should announce?
Yes, one more thing. We have a workshop coming up this Friday by Dennis Dawson, how to be a distinguished Toastmaster. Dennis, you want to talk about that a little bit?
I will talk about how to be a distinguished Toastmaster, and it's easier than you think. All right, our next week's Toastmaster will be BJ. BJ, would you like to confirm the roles at this time?
I certainly would. So BJ for Toastmaster, yes. Official greeter is Elena.
Yes.
Invocation would be Daniel.
Yes.
Word wizard is Martin. I'll have to call him. Timekeeper is Shraddha. I will call her. Grammarian is Sean.
Yes.
Okay. Awe counter is Jane.
Yes.
Lightning slides leader is Depti. I'll have to call. Joke master is Matt. I will call. John Greco for table topics.
Yes.
Okay. Abhijit, first speaker. All right. Sue, second speaker.
Yes.
Maria, third speaker.
Yes.
All right. Ballot counter will be Haley. I'll call her. General evaluator, Virginia will not be available. So do we have someone that would step in as general evaluator for next week? All right, I'll put it. I'm sorry?
Declan.
Declan, thank you. Evaluator 1 is Mariana.
Yes.
Okay. Maria will be the second evaluator.
No, she's a speaker.
Well, isn't that interesting? Because it's on here, she's on twice.
Yeah.
Okay, so who would volunteer to be our second evaluator, please?
I'll do it.
Who?
Dennis.
Dennis, okay, thank you. And Dan Pinschmidt for Evaluator 3.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And thought of the day is Devin. He's gone, and so I'll
He
call.
said yes. He left a message on the chat.
He said yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And that's it.
And the meeting is adjourned.
And the meeting is adjourned. And we went over by 4 minutes.
4 good quality minutes.
Absolutely.
Can we have
Alexandra, how was your experience today?
comments?
It was good, thank you. I appreciated all the different activities and topics discussed. So thank you for letting me observe.
Great to have you.
Good to have you.
Come back again, please.
Welcome back.
Actually, join us.
Yes.
Welcome, Alexandra.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
DJ,
Yes.
my